why is the need to belong also a source of suffering? So we all have a need, a lot of us have at least a strong need to belong to a community. We like to fit in, we like to feel safe. We maybe have experiences from our childhood that have made us feel that burn of not belonging. And so now we try to find a place where we belong. It's a very natural drive. But I'm also gonna give the other side of it, where the need to belong is a source of suffering and a source of division and conflict in the world. So I'll share from my own experience, and then maybe other people can relate with their own experience. So growing up as an Israeli and American, having these two identities, which is very common nowadays, people move around a lot, and they, especially as children, you have to find the place, find your identity, find the place that you fit in, that you can feel safe, that you can feel good. So for me, those two places, I always felt not quite belonging, and I sort of identified myself for a while as a victim of that. Like, I don't belong here, I don't belong there, where is it I belong? And there was a point that I transformed that victim perspective of not belonging to actually an advantage of not belonging, because then I could really fly and really be anywhere. I belong anywhere. And that need to belong was not, I wasn't under its power. So in my own experience, when I gave the need to belong so much power, it actually prevented me from, it caused me to be in this kind of victim position, and prevented me from really feeling at home in my own self. So how does this relate to external divisions? Again, these videos are about peace work or peace activism, but from a personal place. So if you think about external divisions, a lot of it is manifested by the need to belong, by communities that has formed so tight, they feel so good in their communities that they see a kind of other in another community. And we sometimes have this language that we talk about shared values. Yeah, I want my community, I want to be in a community that has shared values. And these shared values, if you really look at them, are just human values. I've been around in a lot of different types of communities, and nobody has ever had a shared value of like hatred or violence. Shared value is always a family, a love, support for each other, and that's common to everybody. We just have the belief sometimes that another community has a value that's different, and that's the belief. And that belief comes when we want to strengthen our own feeling of belonging. That belief is strengthened. We don't want to let go of that belief that the other side has some other type of value, because we want to hold on to that need to belong. So to offset that, what do? Instead of letting the need to belong lead the way, we would tap into the feeling of not belonging. So a lot of us have these, a lot of us are, I say, fortunate enough to have places where we don't feel like we belong. Even social circles, even some that we consider ourselves good friends, inside somewhere there's like this feeling, I don't belong here. There's some kind of anxiety about coming into a social situation. Or at work. At work is such a great example, because you didn't really choose the people in your workplace, they just come. And sometimes if you're sitting and you're eating your lunch, and you feel everybody's talking, maybe even in a certain language, and you can feel that place of not belonging. So what do we do with that? So as in all these videos, the idea here is to actually go and, instead of chasing the need to belong, chase or feel into what it's like not to belong. Use these circles, use these friendships to really explore what is the feeling of not belonging. What does it feel like in my body? And that opens up a kind of, it could open up a deep feeling of loneliness, which a lot of us carry around, that deep feeling of loneliness, after some workings and being fit into certain groups, and that can cause a lot of division. So I always focus it back to oneself. What does it feel like not to belong? So I have this Israeli yoga group that I love so much. And when I first stepped in there, I immediately felt this, everybody was speaking, and this like speaking, interrupting each other in this kind of culture. And I immediately felt the way that I felt for so many years, this kind of, ooh, this is not, I don't know if I can do this. But then instead of being at the mercy of it, at the end of it, and just like getting through a situation in the way that I have always have, I really sat with what it feels like not to belong in this group. And I used every yoga class to feel that feeling. What is it like to be here and not belong? And I'm not talking about drowning into the feeling of not belonging, like again, being the victim of it, but really allowing yourself to get those feelings up, to confront them. There's a little bit of a subtle difference there. It's not drowning in the feeling and being yeah, at the end of it, it's really observing it, observing what it does in you. And slowly I started to let go of it as I was looking at it. And I love this yoga group, and I belong in it, and I feel like I belong in it. But even if one day, there's a feeling of not belonging, that's also okay. I don't have to belong in every situation, in every group, but it took some work with sitting with not belonging. What does it feel like? So the reason why I'm talking about this so excitedly, even though I'm talking about things like feeling your deep loneliness and things that are quite heavy actually to feel, the feeling of not belonging, but I'm so excited about it, is because not doing this work, not looking at these deep feelings, is actually creating a lot of division in the world. Because sometimes we get into the group, we get the comfort, we get the sense of belonging, whether it's actually real or not, but we get a sense of belonging. And then we don't really want to step out of that comfort zone. It's really a comfort zone, even though it may not be. There are deeper levels of belonging where you can feel belonging with any group, with any person. But avoiding that work means that we step into a group and draw more divisions that are necessary. And then we start to frame our belonging based on somebody else's opposite value, like I said at the beginning. So this is the work, going inside, feeling your own loneliness, feeling your own not belonging, and being curious about it. What does it feel like? What does it bring up in me? This is not easy work. This is work that takes a lot of patience and time and care and self-care, because you break a habit, you turn inwards instead of outwards into fulfilling a sense of belonging through a community. You turn inwards. What is it in me that doesn't belong? And of course, I should say, it's not for everybody. This work is not for everybody. It's for those who want to grow. Not everybody wants to grow. Not everybody wants to come out of their comfort zone. Totally respect that. But for those who want to grow and see a brighter and more beautiful world to live in, that's less based on divisions and less driven by a need to belong, this work is for them.